Because you pay attention. Because you know more than one angle. And see more than one opportunity. We bring you Build a Bet. Multiple legs as a single bet on one game. Raising the odds and elevating your experience.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly, not for persons below 18 years.
Thank you very much for coming here. So over here, Zion Felix. Nah, and I'm going to weather off. No. Yeah. Politics bureau has here. And I moving you. It cost down baby. So I'm coming to talk to a sister. A brilliant one, of course. I genuinely me deep into the conversation. I am on different level. But yeah. Zion Felix, me no man kakra. Eba me Francisca ebedi nkomo na me ni one e dey amano me ka rofo kakra na ono so amana katwi kakra be dey am katwi but so you dey ni
Fanti
yeah Fanti enso say Fanti so Kakra Forson there. Where did you grow up?
In Accra.
Yeah, but Abrochi never at night.
Accra was here Abrochi.
Don't go Abrochi there.
Minkasa minkwa Abrochi.
Yes, Abrochi for that tonight.
I'm thinking about it. I've lived in Spain. That was for school.
Okay.
And I also did some work in the UK.
Okay.
And UK still, maybe visiting family if you like. Yeah.
So what brought you back to Ghana?
I've always been in Ghana.
But you went to UK to stay there to work?
It was a brief period. I think it was about 2 weeks or 3 weeks for work, yeah.
Oh, are they? UK 10 years?
No, it was work. It was part of work that I was already doing here that took me there.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So they have something called the Queen's Young Leaders.
Okay.
So it's for young journalists up and coming. They take you to go and meet the personalities in the BBC, etc., just to also learn and participate in what they do, so that when you come back, you also improve yourself.
What is a normal day for Francisca Kakra Forson like?
It's hectic. I've taken on additional responsibility at Metro TV as news editor, so my day starts very early. Usually, I'm engaging my colleague managers, my MD, programs manager, early morning. What are we doing? How are we doing it? Our major bulletins happening at 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and 7 p.m. So every day, these are the things that I'm thinking about.
So 6 a.m., 12 p.m., and 7 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay. When we say 6 o'clock, someone might think 6
a.m., yes. Okay. We have other bulletins in between, but these are the major ones that you're thinking about. And upon joining Metro TV, we've all of us as a team, we've had the responsibility to revive. Metro did the rebranding, etc., but it's been an additional responsibility to revive the brand, and it's been fun. So I wake up, I'm planning my newsroom, I'm assigning my reporters, I'm calling politicians, trying to get interviews, following beats. So it's really about getting information or getting news that will be relevant to the audience.
How difficult is that?
Well, it's a highly stressed job, but it's something that I loved as long as I can remember. I was a young girl. I always loved. Yeah, I loved watching the news. I loved those who came to present it, those who reported from the ground. Yes, it's full of adrenaline.
Who were you looking up to when growing up?
When growing up, I was watching the likes of Barbara Sam, Francisca O'Donton now. So those were the kinds of women I was watching. At some point I was watching Oprah. I still watch Oprah. Oprah is very influential in my life. I watch her a lot. I listen to her speak, about her personal life and all that. So yes, these were the people that I looked up to. Let's look at
the success ladder. Where did you start from to where you are at Metro TV?
Well, I started as an intern. I was at University of Ghana.
Legon.
Yes,
Legon.
University
here in Ghana. Yes.
I guess you went to KNUST.
I went to Legon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Legon. I was at Legon. I think I was in my first year. And a friend had told me that, well, the way I speak, I could read news. And I said, okay, that's something that I'm actually interested in, working as a news reporter. So we had gone to Radio Universe.
That's where I was, from 2012 to last year.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. But I never got to Radio Universe.
Oh, okay.
They were set to interview me. Yeah. But this same friend had engaged Kojo Oponkuma, who was a host of the Joy FM Super Morning show. On the same day of the Radio Universe interview, Kojo called that I should come for an interview at Joy. Okay. So I weighed my options and thought that I would have to go to Joy. So I went to Joy. He asked me a few questions, not really related, because I had done my research. I had gone to read about multimedia, thinking that they were going to ask me all that. He asked me the news of the day. He asked to see my phone, and then he said, okay, start work tomorrow. So that was it, and I started as an intern. At
multimedia, at Joy?
Yes, in the Joy FM newsroom. So that's how I started.
And from Joy to where?
Okay, so from Joy, I worked at Joy. From an intern, I did my national service there, and then they employed me. I did the midday news, I did news night, I went on Joy News TV as well, and then I took a break. So this was about 2015, I believe, if I'm correct, 2015 or 2016, I resigned.
From Joy?
Yes, I resigned from Joy to pursue school. I was then studying, and there were other things I wanted to study in addition. So I took that time off, and I did that and worked in PR as well. But while I was at Joy, I was doing some international reporting. So I took that full swing when I resigned. That was more flexible. I could balance that with school. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I did that. I did Voice of America News. I did France 24. I still do sometimes TRT World, that's a Turkish TV. And I also worked in PR, so I did some work at University of Ghana. I did some work for USAID. I worked in purely PR recently as the Corporate Affairs Manager for the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors. So that was what I did in the last few years. Before 2020 December, I joined Metro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how tedious or easy is it?
Being a journalist.
Yes.
It's very, when I was not a news editor, I would have answered and said it's very tedious because you're running around looking for stories. You're constantly reading everything that's happening. Now, as a manager, I have meetings in addition because I have 2 shows that I host. I host Good Afternoon Ghana Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays, and on Saturdays I do Inside Pages as well. And I have to add that to being a manager. So that's a lot, but that's what I love, and it brings me fulfillment. Some
people do say that. I mean, your kind of show is people take it too World Cup. I mean, do you have leisure time? Politics is too serious. Why?
Well, I agree, and I understand that not everybody will find politics as interesting. But at the end of the day, it's something that affects all of us. There isn't much we can do to ignore it. Some people will say you ignore it at your own peril. So I really will entreat people to pay attention.
I mean, what can we change about increase in petrol? Whether I insult the president, whether I say my mind, it changes nothing about the ups and downs of petrol. It changes nothing about most of the things that happen in the country. So why should people really, worry about politics?
Well, that would be the social contract that we have as those being governed and those governing us has its challenges. But that doesn't mean that change won't happen. Change may be a slow process, but the only time that change won't happen is when we decide to keep quiet. But when we decide to speak up, when we understand what we find ourselves in, and we decide to speak to the governors, tell them X, Y, Z, things will happen, change will come. Maybe not at the pace that we want, but it will come.
So there are so many people in school, GIJ, so many journalism school who wants to be like what you're doing right now. What and what should they learn? What and what should they take seriously for them to also not to get to where you are, but also get into the kind of job that you are doing and be good as you are?
Well, I won't bore them with the cliches of read. Those are obvious things that you have to do. What I think is important, what I think I paid attention to, I got this this advice from a friend who works at the BBC. She said, you must be able to learn the skill of listening. Most of the time when we're talking to people, we think we are listening, but we're only hearing them. When you pay attention to listen to what people are saying, they are saying things that could be nuggets of wisdom for you. Sometimes I do interviews and I go back to listen. I can read a book 3 or 4 times. Going back, listening to what people are saying, that's very important. And when you are doing an interview and you're not listening, for instance, so using an interview as an example, and you're not listening, the person you're talking to will notice, the people who are watching will notice, and you look like an idiot. Yeah. But when you listen, there's a lot that it does for you. So that's what I really apply. When I'm engaging people, I'm really listening.
So looking at how things are running in the country at the moment, where almost every lady wants to trend, almost every guy wants to do something to trend. In the next 5-10 years, are we going to get people like yourself in that field?
In the media space?
Yes, doing what you're doing.
Well, if that happens, I mean, that's great. I'm not very judgmental, so I don't judge people for what they do, because at the end of the day, like they say, everybody's hustling. So I try to have a liberal mind when it comes to what people are doing. So long as they are not breaking any laws, and so long as they're not killing anybody, they should do whatever makes them comfortable. But yes, I agree. If we have more refined industry, that will be great.
Before good afternoon Ghana, there's a good morning Ghana, and there's the almighty good evening Ghana, which, I mean, trends almost every day that the show happens. What is your own assessment about the whole Good Evening Ghana show?
Well, that's a tough question. Yeah, Good Evening Ghana, it's a show that I've been watching for a long time. I've followed Paul's work for a very long time, Paul Adumotre, the host, and I think he's brilliant at his job. There may be excesses, or there may be things that people will not agree with, which they're entitled to, but a time comes where everybody takes certain decisions about their careers, and you can't begrudge them. You just have to accept what they're doing. If there's something in there that is good for you, you take it. If it's not good for you, you just turn away.
From following him for a period of time, do you think he's NPP biased?
I really wouldn't want to have a say on that. Because remember that he's a work colleague as well. So I really wouldn't want to have a say on his political, leanings. I think everybody in Ghana here, most people have political leanings. But the amazing fact is that there are people who belong neither here nor there. But when you say it, nobody will believe you. There are people who are just there for what they are doing, not necessarily following this side or that side. And I think it's up to people, which side they choose to belong to, or whether they want to be on the fence, and they should be entitled to that.
So good morning, Ghana, good evening, Ghana. Why good afternoon, Ghana?
Well, I'll try and explain without pretending I know everything that my employers want. But it's these were shows that were supposed to touch base with Ghanaians at certain important times. So to start the day and to end the day. And because of how the society has evolved, you find that the afternoon is also becoming important. People are spending some time eating up content, if I should say, especially with COVID and with the changing, face of work. These days, people stay in the house and do their work. They don't leave, the walls within which they are. It becomes important to target that audience and to reach them with some good content. And so the brand decided that, well, we should touch base with the audience in the afternoon as well.
So how is it going to be different from the two already existing?
Well, it's not going to be entirely different. The introduction is that a woman hosts that, so that's number one. Number two is that it's rather going to look at not just politics, but real current affairs. So yesterday, for instance, we talked about road safety. The fact that more people are dying on the roads, that's an important conversation. We've had conversations with women talking about empowerment and in the workplace and in the home. So it's not going to be the usual politics that you see on the two brands that exist. It's going to take a shape of its own around my personality as well. I love working with women. I love working with children. And so those are some of the things that you see. And there's a fun side to it as well. So on Monday and Wednesday, it's a bit serious, looking at politics, women's matters, road safety, social issues. On Friday, we down it a bit. We try to have fun. You should come on Friday sometime, so I'm inviting you. We've had Akosia Japan, we've had Dr. Thomas Mensah, who invented fiber optics. We had Dr. Kofi Obeng, the plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills. So on Fridays, we try to make it light and have some fun. Yeah.
So which days and times?
So for Good Afternoon Ghana, it's Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 2 p.m. on Metro TV. Okay. But they repeat it the following day as well. So in between, same time, 2 o'clock. On Saturday morning, 8 a.m. to 10, we have Inside Pages. So that's a news analysis show looking at the major stories of the week, and sometimes the stories that may have been overlooked or certain details, certain nuance may not have been brought out. We sit down, we have excellent panelists that bring about all the angles. So yeah, that's your Saturday morning.
Right. Doing this job for a period of time, more than 5 years, then and now, have we improved or we are diluting the journalism work?
That's a tough question, you know, because there are two schools of thought. There are people who believe that there's a lot of dilution. There are people who believe that people just wear fancy clothes and sit on TV and just talk, and that has become journalism. They are not doing the real hardcore work. And there are those who also believe that, well, yes, there are young people in it a lot. They may be saying things they don't understand, but it shows the effort that they are putting in, so they should be given time. You know, they should be given the room to make their mistakes. I think that, you know, the industry right now, if you look at it, has a fair balance of the two. There have been major improvements in terms of the kind of verification that is done. If you're watching, for instance, if you're watching Metro News, the news that we produce, you see that we are not just reading and playing sound bites. We are bringing slides. We are bringing research that we would have crammed research that we would have brought it down to bits that will make sense to the audience, because we want to produce content that will work with you too and make sense to you. So you look at all those things and you see that there's improvement. The news is really becoming, or journalism is becoming data driven and also practical, making sense for the audience. And of course, there's the part that you think that people are just sitting on TV and spewing all sorts of ignorance. But I think it's good to have the two. The best will thrive. And I believe
become more of sensationalism.
There is that as well. There is sensationalism. You will see some headlines and you click the story. You can tell that it's a clickbait, or you see that on TV. There is sensationalism, but sensationalism shouldn't be entirely seen as negative. It should be done carefully. It should be done bearing in mind the ethics of the profession. So yes, you can do it, but you have to do it in a way that you don't go beyond or you don't go outside the ethics. Yes. So yes, there's some sensationalism, but I believe that there's also some great work that is being done, and I think that the best, which is the great work that is being done, will thrive. So
with the new Good Afternoon Ghana, what is Francisca Kakra Forson trying to achieve with it? How is it going to change Ghana's system with this new show? I'm
not a superwoman, and I don't profess to be one, but I want to have a conversation on my programs that will inform people, that will educate people, that people can relate to. That's one. I want to bring policymakers there and ask them tough questions. I want the show to be able to influence the policymakers and the policy decisions that they make. At the end of the day, we should be able to hold people accountable. And if you're on, we're reading people's messages, they're asking you why their roads are bad, you'll do something about it. So at the end of the day, that's what I want to achieve.
So Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday, 2 p.m. each day, and then the Inside Papers is what
Inside Pages.
Inside Pages.
Yes, that's Saturdays. 8 a.m. Saturday.
Okay, a 2-hour show.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But it's not boring.
It's not boring.
We've got the reporters blog that we have our reporters from the Metro newsroom bringing you some of the most interesting story. We had one story that was last year about a catfish. No, not a catfish. A cat meat festival somewhere in the Volta region, and we saw the cat being grilled. Cats being grilled.
Cat.
Yes, cats. And some of them had bow ties on them, and there was a pun. The alonte, you know, cat is called alonte. So they said the alonte is wearing an alonte, which is the bow tie. So those are the kind of interesting stories you see. There are the serious stories as well. And then we have Ghana Moments. Ghana Moments is very important. What we do is we play a crucial sound soundbite, a soundbite that is speaking to people. So we've had Rawlings, we've had Dr. Nkrumah, we've even had a combination of former President John Mahama and Akufo-Addo both talking about the power, the electricity situation, and how we are still where we are. So that segment really is to speak to the heart of the Ghanaian. And then we have the conversation, which we usually have our panel in the studio, and then we discuss the major topics.
The country's problem, do you think it can be solved like within the next 10 years? Not like everything, but like can we solve like 80% of them? 80%
is very ambitious. Why would you want 80% solved in that short time?
Okay, so let's say 30. That's not possible as well.
Well, it's difficult to put gauges on them and try and look at the percentage. You know, some people say that, well, we all didn't ask to be in this democracy, but we find ourselves into it. Expectations must be reasonable, and those who also have the power and the money to do the work must also be realistic and empathetic to the needs of the others. If we're able to achieve these two, I think we'll find a way, and we probably will get 100% change.
100%?
We probably.
America said no, 100%. So, what is your portfolio at Metro TV? News editor?
News editor, acting news editor.
Oh, okay. Before, people were asking, hey, Metro TV, they're still there. But now, I mean, the conversation has changed.
We're happy about that.
What did you do right? What did management do right for the conversation to change from, hey, them still there till now, we know them?
So they had a plan. That's square one. I mean, that's the thing. They had a plan to revive it and to give it a new face. And what they did was look for the hands, the people they believe can do the work. So looking for talents, looking for people who buy into their agenda. The agenda for Metro TV really is to be a global channel and have a lot of focus on Pan-Africanism. So that's a major strategy. You look for people who think like that, or who believe in that, and who can help drive that. And so we all have our mandates. Our job is set out for us. We have to get people to see that Metro TV is no longer this, but it's going up there.
Do you still do entertainment? Because I used to get a lot of entertainment stars from Metro TV, but I think some of them have left when the transition happened.
You know a lot about Metro TV, probably than I do.
Metro has been there since.
Yeah, we still do entertainment. We've got some shows. I believe Playlist is still there. We've got some social media shows now. So if you watch Good Morning Ghana, you see that I think in the last 30 minutes there's a Metro Trends, if I have the name correctly, and there's also Metro Social. Yeah, so entertainment is still there.
I had a conversation with one media person at a certain media house. And
Which media house?
If I mention the media house, I would have to mention his name. Okay, well, I talked to Captain Smart when he was at Angel FM. And he said he was going to go for pension over there. And not even up to a year, he left. Are we going to see Kakra Forson leaving Metro in less than a year when the show is picking up now? Everybody's mentioning Kakra Forson's name. Shall I go to Metro TV 2 p.m.? The lady should ask tough questions when everything is going on well now. She decides to move from Metro to a different place.
You really ask interesting and tough questions. The truth of the matter, and which is a fact of life, is that nobody knows tomorrow. We can only speak to the now, the present. As I sit here, I love my job, I love my team. I've got, a vibrant team of young men and women who also love the job and have a great passion for it. In my newsroom, I wake up every day looking forward to coming there and engaging my team. I sit here today, my answer to you is that I love my job, this is what I want to do, and that's what I can say.
So for now, it is a no to move?
Yes.
Okay. So as a young lady doing very well, in your field, hosting this show, what are some of the challenges as a news editor, having 3-4 shows in a week? No be joke. Waking up every morning to think about the news that you get, how credible they are, editing stories to check everything before it goes on air. How is the stress?
It's highly stressful, but it's not a one-person job. It's not a one-woman job. I have, as I said, I have an amazing team, very dedicated. Sometimes I overwork them, and sometimes there's an opportunity for us all to get rest. So that's the balance. Once you have a good team and you are leading such a team, you're able to manage, the space you're in and the time. There are obvious challenges. Your social life will be affected a lot because you won't have much time to hang out with friends, and you would have friends feel that you've abandoned them. Family as well will feel the same, and it's just about managing it so that the little time that you get to spend with your friends and your family, you have to be present and you have to be involved so that they know that, well, you're with them, you're part of them.
Do they complain?
Oh, I mean, it's only human to say that, oh, hey, I haven't seen you in a long while. Are we good? So yes, I mean, a few complaints will come, but they're not out of bitterness, and they're not from a bad place. It's from love. So you bear that in mind, then you try to make amends.
If you leave me, I'll ask you certain questions. Let me just pause there.
Well, thank God for that.
Okay. So your social media handles?
At Kakra Forson. So that's Instagram and Twitter. Yes, and on Facebook and LinkedIn, it's Francisca Kakra Forson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your few words before we leave. Final words.
That's another tough part. Final words. Well, I'll just like to speak to Ghanaians, especially the young women out there, that hey, go and build that dream. First of all, dream it, work towards it. You can achieve it. Nothing can stop you so long as you believe in yourself.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
So I spoke to Francisca Kakra Forson, who is now hosting Good Afternoon Ghana on Metro TV. It's on DSTV, right?
Yes, channel 277.
Okay, and then it's free to air. It's been on free to air since. It's on the guitar. It's everywhere. So I mean, you have no excuse not to watch the show 2 p.m. Monday, Wednesdays, and then Friday. And Saturday in the morning, 8 to 10, inside Pages.
Yes.
I had it right.
You had it right.
Thank you very much once again.
Thank you too.
My name is Zion Felix. On Instagram, you can follow me at zionfelix.com. Twitter, Unia_Zion Felix. On Facebook, Zion Felix Entertainment News. Bye-bye.
Me did the young antechua, and maybe I'm discovered for Europe. I come a bush and for Ghana. No, me used to tap send. No fee mobile money transfer. Easy, convenient, fast, and sounds so free. Won't you share? Me discover ye map him. Tap send. Intern, also download the tap send app. No, ever mobile phone so free. Na first come a bush and for Ghana for na tap send. Papa no.